You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Another LSU player did, in fact, jump in the transfer portal today. Marcus Dumervil, the big offensive lineman out of the state of Florida, threw his name into the portal. So we'll do the whole numbers thing here in just a bit and kind of get you caught up on where LSU stands. But Dumervil thanked Coach O, Coach Kelly, Coach Brad Davis, the football operation, all that stuff, and announced that he's entering the transfer portal. So Dumervil's another member of that 2020 class that now will not finish their career at LSU. So Dumervil came in 2020, which was the COVID year, played in just a game during that COVID season as a freshman. Then last year, as a redshirt freshman, played in 10 games and actually had a start. He started the Arkansas game a year ago in an untraditional sense. LSU started with the game with a sixth offensive lineman, so he was on the field for the first snap, so he technically got a start. But he played in 10 games, and then this year he was destined for a red shirt, and then they played him in the SEC championship game, and so he burned the red shirt. But obviously the 2020 season did not count, and then he played 2021 and then 2022. So he's got, you know what? I need to check on this because Dumervil said in his tweet that he's got 3 seasons of eligibility remaining. But if he burned the red shirt this year, which I believe he did in the SEC championship game, then he would only have 2 seasons of eligibility left. But or maybe 3 to play 2 is what he's got. But anyway, so Dumervil is forgive me, he redshirted last year. So he didn't play the COVID year. He redshirted last year. So this should have been his only season. So he's got 3 to play. There, #math. So, no, he played in 10 games in 2021. That doesn't make sense why he would say he's got 3. Anyway, 6'5", 306-pounder. He was the 11th best offensive tackle in the country when he signed. And this goes back to the thing we've talked about a little bit here with that LSU 2020 signing class. And I'll say it again, man, your juniors become the cornerstone of your class, and they become your upperclassmen. And that should have been the core of this team. And for LSU, that would have been the class of 2020. And look at this team. Look at that class. Eric Gilbert, Elias Ricks, Phillip Webb, Jordan Tolles, Antoine Sampa, now Marcus Dumervil, Trey Bradford, Josh White, Max Johnson, Eric Taylor, Dwight McGlothern, Coy Moore, Alex Adams, TJ Finley. Like, that class is all gone. That's why your roster this year was made up of so many transfers. And now Dumervil is the next from that 2020 class to leave, and I don't think he's going to be the last. And it's no surprise. Over the last month or so, as we've been talking about what LSU's targets in this portal class will be, I've told you several of them that what I've been told. They're going to add a tight end. They've already put out a couple of tight end offers. They're going to target edge players. They've offered a couple of edge players. They're looking for a speedy, potential deep threat wide receiver. And depending on if they need cornerbacks, of course, if they need quarterback, running back, or a dynamic player is available, they would look at it. But then offensive linemen were going to be a big part of this portal class to build their depth because they knew they were losing a lot of these guys. Look, you had 2 true freshmen win starting jobs this year. So the guys that have been hanging around for 2, 3, 4 years waiting for their opportunity to crack the lineup, they get passed by 2 true freshmen, they're gone. So Cam Wire is going to go play somewhere else. Dumervil is going to go look for a place to start somewhere else. And there's other guys. I always hesitate to name names because I don't necessarily want to call somebody out or insinuate that this person is going to leave, but you can figure out who the other players are because I don't think that Wire and Dumervil are the only offensive linemen they're going to lose. I mean, you've got guys that have been hanging around waiting for a chance to play that haven't cracked the rotation and aren't going to because you return your 5 starters and your top 6 guys from this year because you've got Miles Frazier back as well. So your first 5 and Frazier, that's your top 6 guys are all back. So these guys that have been waiting are probably going to leave and go find somewhere else. I mean, it's worth watching. What does Cardell Thomas do? What does Xavier Hill do? What does Marlon Martinez do? Now, Martinez is interesting because he got the start in the UAB game when Charles Turner was injured, but I can tell you flatly that LSU, if they could add Jake Renfro, the center from Cincinnati, in this portal class, they'll do it. So where does that leave a guy like Martinez? Those are the things that are worth watching as you look forward into this portal class. But specifically on the offensive line, whenever you're looking at numbers that they have coming back, we mentioned the first 5 that we know. You've got from left to right, you've got Will Campbell, you've got Dellinger, you've got Charles Turner coming back, you got Bradford coming back, and you got Emory Jones, and then Miles Frazier, who we mentioned, and then a lot of the other guys I mentioned there. Kimo Makanaioli, this was his redshirt freshman year. Does he come back? What does Cardell Thomas do? You signed Bo Bordelon in this recent class, who's certainly going to add some depth for you. Xavier Hill, we talked about there. What does he do? A lot of your depth is potentially lost here with some of these guys hitting the portal, so you've got to go into the portal to add depth there. And, of course, in this upcoming signing class, you're always going to look to add offensive linemen. But the good news for LSU is, you are solidified here because of your starters in your first 6. So your line next year, by the virtue of the fact that this line got better as the season went along and your first 6 guys are all back, you're better there. You're adding a guy in Lance Hurd, who's a 5-star, the highest-rated prospect in your class, as far as the 2023 class, and he's an offensive lineman from Neville. You got DJ Chester, who's a highly ranked 4-star committed for this class as well. Tyree Adams is the really athletic 4-star out of St. Aug in New Orleans who's committed for this class. So you've added already 3 offensive linemen. Or Paul Mubenga is another one. So 4 offensive line commits in this class, including the highest-rated commit in your class. So you're going to supplement with the young guys, but you're going to have to add some veteran depth as well because of these guys that you're losing in the portal. So look for that to be almost a one-for-one swap. If they can add some veteran depth in the offensive line, they're going to do it in this transfer portal class as well. So Marcus Dumervil, who was a guy that was very highly rated coming in, he was just outside of the top 100 overall in the country. He was the 11th best offensive tackle in the country when he signed. Only played in the game during that COVID season as a true freshman. Played a lot a year ago for LSU as a reserve rotational guy, and then redshirted this season. So for Dumervil, he'll find a new spot. And I don't think he's going to be the last offensive lineman from this team to do just that. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.